Hi, I'm Alistair McInnes. I'm the other half of SRR Games, and I'm here to demonstrate Minion TCG. So, let's just run through what you'll actually be playing with. You'll have your Minion deck here, which I'll get to in greater detail in a bit, but I want to talk about first is your Lord. Your Lord will be playing as your tower, which will be your health, and what will dictate what you can do each turn. You will have which will be designated by your Lord points, which here is 3, so you'll be able to do 3 actions in your turn, which will either be rallying a minion onto the battlefield, or sacrificing them to use certain abilities in the game. Your health will be 12, so you'll have to get hit 3 times for the game to end. Lords also have a unique ability to themselves, which will have a requirement of certain keyword minions being on the battlefield or in certain other areas across the game to be effective. These often are to shape up the game somehow more or less in your favour, or to reset the status quo of the game. Both players will show their lords and put them to the side. They'll also shuffle their decks and draw 1 for their hand and draw 1 for the battlefield, and they will repeat this 5 times. So 1, 2. This pile is going to be my hand, and I'll put this aside and for now. But what both players will do is their battlefield cards, they will show both at the same time and sort into the rows in which they are given and the places in which their minions can be placed. In the game you'll have 3 routes each. So the minions have certain places where they can stand in certain routes. You have minions that can go on the front lines, minions that can only go on the mid line, and minions can only go on the back line. Minions on the back line tend to be more defense heavy, midliners tend to be more attack heavy, and ones at the front tend to be your middle ground. Now we have the minions on the battlefield, we can now start the game. The phases of the game go as such. First you will draw to 5 cards in hand at the beginning of your turn. Then will come the rally phase, in where you will spend Lord points to rally minions onto the battlefield. Since I have 3 points, I can rally 2 or 3 minions depending on my liking, or I can just rally 1, which I'll do. And now that I have done with the rally phase, now goes on to the fighting phase. When you start the fight phase, call out the route in which you will want to attack, and you will be locked in to that one route. Fights are governed over attack versus defense. So in this instance, if we take this frontliner and he'll go against this midliner, the midliner has an attack value of 50 and the frontliner has a defense of 38. The midliner clearly wins and the frontliner goes to the casualty pile. The casualty pile is where cards go when they have been vanquished in battle. When you run out of cards in your minion deck, you'll reshuffle your casualty pile and start playing with that. If the minion attacking were to lose a fight, to say the defense value of a minion was higher than 50, then this card would lose and it would go to my casualty pile. While if both were equal, defense being at 50 and attack being at 50 each, they would both go to their casualty piles. During the fight, you'll continually attack your opponent's route until you either come up with a higher defense than yours, or you plan to stop yourself. If you clear the route, this will allow you to then raid when the raid phase comes along. But that's how fight mechanic works, and now we can move on to the ability phase, which works as such. Since I have 2 points left, I can use any one of my abilities bar this one, which is a 3-point ability that I can't use because I only have 2 points left. But if I wanted to, I could use 2 1-point abilities or just 1 2-point ability. To use these abilities, you will be having to sacrifice cards from your hand, and the number associated with the abilities is the number in which cards you'll have to sacrifice. For the 1 point, you'll have to sacrifice 1 card. For the 2 point, you'll have to sacrifice 2 cards, and for the 3 point, you'll have to sacrifice 3. But seeing how I've only got 2 points left, I can only use one of the 2-point abilities or 2 of my 1-point abilities. When you sacrifice cards from your hand, they will go to the sacrifice pile. The sacrifice pile is an area which is a out of game spot. When cards go out of game, they can't come back unless you have an ability that brings them back. When you've used your abilities, that will call the end of the ability phase. The final phase of your turn will be the raid phase, in which you can do direct damage to your opponent's lord. And how you do this is by sending your minions to do direct damage. Each card on a clear route will be able to do direct damage to your opponent's lord. Here, if I have a clean route in front of me, I can do 2 points of direct damage to my opponent's lord. If I do send 2, then I send my cards to the casualty pile. During this quick demonstration, I have shown the main mechanics of the game, but there is one that I have yet talked about, and that is the counter mechanics, or the counter minions. Take this scene here, in which a attack value 50 midline minion is about to attack my midline minion of 21 defense and my backline minion of 47 defense. With this attack, he can clearly destroy both of my cards and send them to the casualty pile, unless I have a fighting counter card. Fighting counter minions stop the fight and stop him where he is. So my cards stay where they are, and so does my opponent's. That is just one of the abilities that a counter card can have. If you just use the one ability, then this card will go to the casualty pile. But all counter cards have a self-sacrifice ability, which will allow you to stop the fight. Also will decrease one minion's defense by 20 on that route. So if I was to do that, I would then have to sacrifice my counter card to my sacrifice pile. But I will also be able to decrease my opponent's minion by a value of 20, allowing me next turn to crush my opponent. Now there is one more counter card in this game, and that is the raid counter minion. As we can see here in this scenario, I have no minions within the middle route, so my opponent can easily do 3 points of direct damage to my lord, unless I have a raid counter minion. Again, just like the fighting counter minion, it'll stop his minions in place, leaving them as they are, unless I use my self-sacrifice ability, which will not only stop the raid phase from happening on this one route, but also will swap one route's opponent's raiding minions to my side of the battlefield. So if I sacrifice this card to my sacrifice pile, I will be able to take one of his minions from his side of that route to then be on my side for the rest of the game. Well, that was a great demonstration of the game. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.